Guys, this is the inaugural one. I am so pumped about this. You found us, which is a challenge in and of itself. It is like walking into a mall and you never know because we don't have the mall map up yet. But Startup Conversations was born out of a side hustle of me just loving working with early stage founders and trying to pull them together to do really, really cool stuff. And it's grown, and the more we kind of grew the community, what we realized is we need to offer something bigger and better to help the founders do stuff. And so it is growing and growing and growing. The Vic believes in that vision incredibly. They've become one of our biggest kind of supporters and sponsors, which is awesome. This space is phenomenal. There's about 700,000 square feet, and they're giving us a little tiny corner that's connected to a big corner because they believe in what's going on. So it's been really exciting to have them over the past couple of months kind of lean in to helping us. So we're excited to have them on. The other sponsors, Value Up Advisors, Martin Nochez has been a strong supporter from the start. WTIA, we're talking about, this is, if you know them, they're the Washington counterpart to Tech Association of Oregon. Have a lot of benefits, and we're talking about how to get those benefits more apparent down here, which includes a healthcare plan, which includes a phone plan, includes access to some cohorts and speakers and things like that. So I'm excited about that. 515 Engine. This has been, Shirin has been one of the other long-time supporters for a very, very long time, helping out, whether it's just getting the place set up or coffee or recording, it doesn't matter. The digital side of what he does is pretty amazing. If you need people in cloud, kind of your guy. Applied AI Association is a phenomenal organization that is a global organization. Started out of the Bay Area, and we're starting to operationalize some of what we do. So we'll have an AI work day that'll be in cooperation with them. We do other, we call them an innovation station day, which is great. It's this really cool, instead of a panel where everybody's kind of getting up and talking about what they're doing, we set up different speakers and we rotate through them. So you get a smaller, intimate connection with people that are actually building it and doing stuff. And you don't get stuck and slammed. So with just inundated with too much that may not be relevant for you. And the city of Vancouver has been a great supporter in what we've been doing. They've been encouraging us to really kind of build out this resource, making connections, and helping us really get launched, which is awesome. I'm Dave. Some people know me, some people don't. Kind of a loudmouth around town about the startup scene, and have been doing this, again, since 2017. This is really, it's been an interesting evolution. I'll say on the next slide, we said it started in 2017, but really this is kind of Pinocchio becoming a real boy right now. This is us changing that this is going to be a standard 501c3. It's going to have a board. It's going to have rigor and structure. We're going to go through fundraising campaigns and everything else. This is much larger. The vision is so large for what we're trying to do. It can't be my side hustle. And so we're pulling people together. You saw the cards out there, which is, how can you contribute? How can you kind of get involved and do stuff? This is a community of founders. It is a community of people that want to see this happen here. And it's been the story of Vancouver since I've been here. But over the past, 5 years, is when it's really, really kind of started to catalyze, when it's really started to become something. Portland is in recovery, honestly, right? Love here. It's why I moved to the area. It was because of Portland. They're having some challenges, and if you've lived up here, you've seen how difficult it is to engage with some of the resources that are down there. There's some really good, smart organizations and people down there that are really willing to help and can really do a lot. But when that kind of feels cut off to you, because it's going to take an hour and a half to get down there, or 2 hours out of your day to get down there for a 2-hour meeting, becomes a challenge. And Vancouver has really grown up enough now that we need this. We need a resource, and so we're really happy to kind of be landing here at the Vic to do it. This is kind of a little bit of our mission and vision of what we're trying to do. It's really trying to build out the community here. That involves attracting capital. It involves putting really good advisors inside of the community, right? That people that have gone through it and walked the road, because it is one of the hardest things you'll ever do, starting something, and you don't realize that. You know, how many smart people do you know that say, I'm going to go tackle a 95% failure rate? But we do it. We do it, and I love that, right? I love that we do it. It's in finding ways to encourage that and kind of tip the odds, make something happen. It's really why we put this together. So I used the 19 months because that really was the first startup conversation. It was February 2024. It was based on, this format was based on a group that I had facilitated down in Portland called 1 Million Cups. And I did that for 3 years down there. And every week we had a speaker, a new founder that would come in and talk about what they did. And it was phenomenal. It was amazing to meet. It was just such energy and everything. It was phenomenal. And what I really realized was there was a couple of different things. First of all, the community that was hungry for it, but then the community of the founders never meet each other. And that's a shame. There's some people building really cool things, and they're so busy and maybe don't see some synergies or something with another company or other people. They just kind of get in these tracks of, we got to get stuff done. And so, so I rekindled that as Startup Conversations. That was 19 months ago. We had about 400 people in the group then. This was in the meetup group, and now that's grown to over 1,300. So it's been amazing to watch it grow and to just be a part of pulling it together and see that, you know, it just fits right now for Southwest Washington. But that's me, that's us. But I love finding out who's here, what they're building. So if you're brave or not, it's okay. Stand up, tell us what you're building. You turned. Anybody moves, I'm gonna pounce. So.
I'm at an early stage cloud and AI startup based in Seattle. I'm the head of product there. And how can you help? I mean, I need strategy, I need vision help, I need fundraising help, I need all kinds of help.
You are in the right spot. That's awesome. It's awesome. Who else?
I'm Joe Blogger. I'm a recently self-employed web developer. Built things for the likes of Florida DOT and Puget Sound Energy. Here to help people build their web apps.
I like it. Very cool.
My name is Anne. I have a startup called Drizzly, and we are a handmade marketplace for handmade only, US only, no resale, no imports. And we need to find artists right now. Funding would be great too, but we really need to find artists.
My wife does wire wrapping jewelry.
We have a lot. We have.
I
mean, more is always better.
Yep.
But anything handmade?
Yeah.
I know a bronze artist, actually.
Neil.
I love this. Yeah. Everyone is an artist.
Little birds, little 4-inch by 4-inch birds.
Nice.
That is not my startup. No. My name is Joe Butler. I own a company called College River Consulting. We do a lot of business consulting, bookkeeping, vision, mission stuff, and have gotten into software development. I know what I know, and I also know what I don't know, and I know lots of things that are missing. So I'm looking for Joe because I need help with that. A lot of AI integration into previously non-AI related.
Love it. Cool. Anybody else?
Hi,
Yeah.
I'm Kelly. I guess it's not a startup anymore because it's been 10 years, but it feels like one. Slumberkins, a children's emotional health and wellness brand. And I We're trying to kind of just be a little bit more innovative about how our product is really supportive of mental and emotional health for families. And so we're looking for ways to partner with other organizations to try to get those products into more hands of kids and families who need them. So, whether that's through schools or hospitals or nonprofits or therapy offices, those are kind of my focuses for now. Looking for partnerships or intros around those things.
That was very well understated. Kelly and Kaylee actually were one of the speakers a while back. Slumberkins is a phenomenal brand, partnering with Henson's, Apple. Really, it's just been amazing.
It looks beautiful, so good from the outside. That's what I'll tell everybody. It looks
Yeah.
great and put together and cool.
Yeah.
And like, here I am trying to hold on for dear life, just like
Yeah.
everybody else. That like literally never changes.
Yeah.
It did for like a minute when the funding came in, and then I made all the first-time founder mistakes and burned through money, and now I'm just like back to the grind. So.
But it is, right? I mean, they say it's the hardest thing we'll ever do, and it is a journey that we don't know how to get through. So thank you. I always like to talk about the books that I'm reading. I think if I look at things that have shaped me and my perspective, things that I've seen other founders, I'm ravenous about finding books that really I think are transformational is a really tough word, but I like when there's just truth embedded through the whole thing. Reading a whole book of something and enacting it is really tough. This one has some basic concepts that I think are phenomenal. So I'll just give a 2-second background about this book. The really basic side is what it says is that there are inflection points, right? When we talk about timing, by the way, if you saw the shirts out there, take a shirt. They're not for sale. Just take those. If there's a size there for them, those are for you guys. But we talk about inflection points, and that's the timing of something, right? That you see something transformational. And it's really easy right now that we're following the hype cycle and we say AI is an inflection point. It absolutely is. But what it also takes is an insight of where and how that's to be applied in something that isn't being applied. Right? Something that somebody doesn't see, something that somebody is dismissive of or doesn't have any experience of. That's part of the thing that creates the idea so that you really can tap into something, right? And then that momentum. I mean, the thing we're looking for in growth startups is momentum. It's not just you get people coming in the door that are continuing to buy your product like it is at a Main Street business. You need that velocity. You need that to become bigger than just the sale of what you're doing. And so it really kind of talks about those. And that really kind of becomes a movement. And I talk about this all the time. I don't like the idea of advisors in this classic sense. I like the idea of co-conspirators. These are people that get infected with what you do and are going to lean in to help, and sometimes they're going to turn the wrenches. Right? Sometimes they're going to be ones that are actually helping you do stuff, not just telling you what to do. World's full of a lot of that. Another really strong premise inside of this book is this is kind of like blue ocean, right? If you've heard the analogy that when there's a feeding frenzy, with the sharks, it's a red ocean, but you want to find the blue ocean where nobody is because that's where the advantage is. Inside of this, if you think about being right or wrong with your hypothesis of whatever you're trying to build, whatever you're trying to sell, right? You can be right or you can be wrong. And then the world's going to have some consensus that you are wrong or that you are right. Or there's non-consensus. Nobody knows whether you're right or wrong, right? But when you're right and there's consensus that you're not, it's creating the opportunity and the difficult part, which is you're going to tell people things that they absolutely are going to tell you aren't going to work. So I see this a lot in early stage founders is we sit here and we look for validation. Validation is a really strong word inside of early stage startups. And too many people take it as I talked to somebody and told them what I was doing and they said it was a good idea. That's not validation. That's emotional validation, but it is not business validation. It's completely different, and we get really kind of waylaid about it. So, like I said, that book, phenomenal. I think top to bottom, I don't think there's anything that really kind of struck me. Normally there's one thing I'm like, no, that's all we have. No, it's a really solid book, top to bottom. So can't recommend that enough. What you guys don't want to hear me. This is about Cody. I've known Cody 10 years or so, I think. Early days. 2017 is when I think I kind of started coming in, 14, 15. And he just got an amazing heart, amazing background that he applies. I think there's two things I talk about all the time. Is a founder that comes in that's got the experience of something and the passion for it, but that also understands how to translate all of those powers for what he's trying to build. And I think Harper's been that since day one. So I think it's been an incredible mission and business, and I'm just really excited to have him up to share more. So with that, bring him up.
Thank you, Dave. I think it's a good 10 years. Solid 10. Morning. This is so exciting. Is it too late to talk you out of the 501c3 plan? I kid.
Not yet.
I kid. Opening up with an illustration of the very first Harper's Playground. Still my favorite, but there's one closer. This is North Portland. Our newest, bestest, biggest is in Marshall Park, which is about 3 miles from here. And I'll share a bit more about that. But I like to start with my goals, my mission today, what I intend to accomplish. My biggest font is for inspire. If I can inspire action or even just inspire at all, that's what I'm going to hope to do. But I'll hopefully also entertain along the way. And maybe, I know this is meant to be an educational experience for this audience. I will try to offer some nugget of wisdom or something that provides value. Hopefully all three of these happen. So I'm the co-founder, chief play officer at Harper's Playground, and that's because I never wanted to be an executive director. So I carried that title for a short bit and realized that's not who I am or what I want to be. So when you're the founder, you can make your own title. So I'm the chief play officer. I'm going to talk a little bit about the history of play because we build play spaces. Play does not require a special place to happen. In fact, children are so hardwired to make their own meaning of the world and of their experiences that they choose to play anywhere but a typical playground. This is the reality. This is part of the reality that my wife and I have experienced as founders of a playground design build organization. So if you look around the interwebs, you'll find kids playing all over the world, anywhere but a typical playground. The history of playgrounds started in the late 1800s in Boston. The first playgrounds were a big pile of sand dumped in an empty lot to attract kids to get out of the street, right? So kids were playing in the streets of urban America, and to stop that, to draw the kids out of the street, they piled sand. And very early playground equipment, these ones, was wonderfully collaborative. Hold on. You don't want to miss this. Come on in.
Thank you. I just spilled a bunch. I don't really care.
All good. When the playground industry moved away from dumping piles of sand, they started creating wonderfully dangerous features, wonderfully accessible. These are all accessible features. If you use wheels, you could get to this. You can see actually here an example of a wheeled vehicle right in the play area. But especially important here, really socially connective, right? These features invited and required group activity, social connection. Something terrible happened to the playground industry in the 1970s, and it was a film called Kramer versus Kramer. And in that film, a young boy playing on a structure in Central Park falls on the concrete below, splits his lip. His father, Dustin Hoffman, races him to the emergency room, and they actually show the boy getting stitches in his lip. Now this basically stuff, we have since raised over $11 million as an organization, invested more of that into actual playgrounds than into the organization, which has probably been a mistake. There's piles of mistakes that lead to eventual success. But this first story is amazing. We had a bake sale in front of our house, and 3 years later, under 3 years later, we cut the ribbon on one of the most innovative playgrounds in the world. And I think the most impressive part of all of that is, of course, actually getting it done, getting it built, going through the red tape and the process. Not that red tape, but like other red tape. But our design is so amazing, and I can't wait to share with you what's amazing. So Dave mentioned my background, or did you mention my background? I don't know, at Adidas. I worked at Adidas for 14 years on and off, and then I also helped Red Bull peddle sugar drinks to kids. Glad that I'm now peddling playgrounds to kids. So marketing 101, t-shirts and trucker hats. Our first 2 trucker hats, modeled by my 2 daughters, Harper and Lennon, were actually custom made in a mall, one of those kiosks, and we did iron-on t-shirts. But I really set out to create a strong brand in Harper's Playground because my background was brand marketing. And so you did mention that I've tried to put some of my accidental career into my now passion. Harper's Playground, we said yes to a Today Show interview 1 year after, almost 1 year after the opening of the first playground with that red tape cutting. And I made it very clear to Erica Hill here, who wanted to do the story, that I was really not so interested in the story about what we did, but much more interested in the story about what we're going to do, which is launch an organization to build more, to become an organization. I was busy planning my exit strategy from Adidas, which was the hardest part of that was convincing my wife that that was a good idea when it was a very stable life. We had 2 daughters, one with very significant disabilities. But my main sales pitch to her was that I could not eat, sleep, or drink without consistently thinking about Harper's Playground. And it's all I was going to be good for the rest of my life. And there are almost no retirement parties at Adidas. So that was also helpful. There's not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I can read some of the tea leaves. Once you hit about 50, you're done over there. Like you're worthless. So Harper's Playground's an amazing story since then. Not only the Today Show, but we have a playground already in Tokyo, Japan. This one here, which was built for the 2020 Olympics, which happened in 2021. This journey of now 15 years as a founder has been, it's like cyclical like this of restarting. I'm really hearing and feeling Kelly today. But I want to share with you what the major problems that Harper's Playground is really addressing, because it's not just play. So there are 3, and I believe in the power of 3, and I will only use 3 in any list ever, pretty much. There are 3 problems that we're tackling fundamentally. So exclusion for people with disabilities. I was sharing in the preparation this morning, the way I like to frame this is disability is the last one to the social justice party. Disability is still the one that gets left out of the social justice parties. Social justice movements have events in non-accessible locations, for instance. Disability is the great uniter too. This is so important. Anyone like myself can join the disability party at any moment in time. It touches every background, every race, every ethnicity, every socioeconomic background. If we think of disability as a group we're going to really make sure we take care of, we actually touch everybody. So it's so important to us. It's Harper. Play deficit is something that experts are talking about. How many people have heard of the book? I like book recommendations. Jonathan Haidt's An Anxious Generation. 400 pages to tell you that kids are spending too much time on screens and should be outside playing. I could have told you guys that. But I guess you need a PhD and the wits to write a good book. So bless his heart. Also, isolation. Isolation is a real issue for society. People are too siloed just in the way we're designing communities and cities. And I've been sharing that about isolation for years, but actually, believe it or not, it's been really endorsed by the Surgeon General of the United States of America. There is an epidemic of loneliness in America. It is shortening lifespans by 15 years for many people. It hits people with disabilities and the elderly, which are often one and the same, most hard. The data is staggering. And the recommendations that they made under Pillar 1, strengthening social infrastructure in local communities, design the built environment to promote social connection. This is why I highlighted those images of those early play features. Harper's Playground designs with the mindset for social connection. Play is the gateway to physical, social, and emotional well-being. And the social connection part of it touches all of that. We play more physically when we're being social. We're going to be more active in a social connection. All of our emotional well-being comes through most of it, some from books, and connecting with a parent, but it's connection. It's so much of that. My connection to this story, I've already mentioned Harper, but I couldn't really share my founder's journey without sharing this story of her birth, because it really has launched all of my why as a person in this work. Not only were we told she would never walk nor talk in her life shortly after her birth, but she almost didn't survive her first day. It was the most intense, crazy, several hours where she couldn't breathe on her own. And they actually, at the hospital, wanted to give up. They suggested that they read her her last rites. It was a Catholic, I think, hospital. Well, being Jewish, we said, no way. We're not doing that. I promised to entertain. There was a miracle, or many miracles on this journey, but a gentleman came from across the river, saved her life, performed life-saving surgery as well. And I like to make this transition between these slides because it was shortly after her diagnosis, which was 1 month after her birth, when they told us this prognosis of her life. She'll never walk nor talk in her life. That's what they told us we should expect. That is hard to hear. I'm not going to lie, that was a struggle. And in the weeks that followed, I absolutely clearly took to prayer, intention, whatever you want to call it, to find a way to change the world for her. This is the genesis of this whole movement. I was committed to finding a way to change the world for her. I thought the world is not hospitable to people like her, and I want to change the world for her. And on my birthday in 2011, this was when I knew absolutely that I was going to have to quit Adidas, because it was in this room that we talked about the design theory of Harper's Playground and how, just to really put a pinpoint on it, a more natural environment, a less structured environment, one that really does not dictate how to engage with it, promotes brain development. Really rapid brain development. I had you guys all touch sticks earlier, and a stone, and even a piece of art, because it's literally by touching real things that stimulates some of the most incredible brain development that children go through from 0 to 5, especially. Studies also suggest bare feet. Let those kids take their shoes off and walk around on materials, because the nerve endings down there, they require stimuli to create connections. And it is all brain development that is happening. Okay, so I probably am going so long already, Dave, so forgive me. I'm going to fly through some slides. I don't have a clicker. I don't have a timer, so is that, I don't know, 15? I'm okay. We're good? I will fly through some of these. Here's our design of the first playground. This vision was so much more bold than any other vision out there for inclusive playgrounds, and still to this day is. Inclusive playgrounds in 15 years have become almost ubiquitous. Everyone's doing it. But they're basically just putting ramps on structures and calling it a day. I will try to convince you that in this instance, you must, like most things, do it right, do it well. Quality matters. And quality comes in a public space from real things, not a plastic, there's no stimuli from that plastic piece. So what we did through that drawing and that bake sale was take this playground here, this is the original one at Arbor Lodge Park, and transition it into a vibrant community hub. Our playgrounds, like this first one, are visited, I wish I had proper data, but I'm just going to tell you, photographically, because you'd have to be there with a clicker all day long. 10, 50, 20 times more people easily for more time and more connection. So it's been phenomenal to see what happens. The basis of our whole organization is so moments like this can happen and do happen, right? As a reminder, it's not only children who experience disability, but children who experience disability grow up, or sometimes an adult has an injury and become disabled. This woman shared with us that she specifically purchased a home in rolling distance from our first playground just to be there. But here's the most important point I'll make today, I believe, in these 2 slides that'll transition. This is Stella proving that an ability to freely move about a space is joy. This is freedom, this is liberty, this is democracy, this is equity, this is inclusion, this is belonging, all those words. But this is just right? But it wouldn't be what it is. It wouldn't matter if the design didn't also work for all kids, right? So we do not design for disability, we design for all abilities. That's what inclusion is. So there's no loss, nobody's losing. One of my favorite things to engage as a community member, I go to communities all the time to tell them why they should do a Harper's Playground. They're usually inviting me because they think they want one, but there's always somebody who says, hey, I'm sorry that your kid is disabled and that's a bummer, but why should my kid lose out so your kid can play? And I used to want to punch their teeth out, but now I really appreciate the opportunity to educate them because they just don't know. Their kid's gonna love this playground more than that structure too. So it's, just remember, people are on a journey of discovery. I didn't know that before, now I do. So Harper, our spokesmodel, inspired my now favorite moment that has happened. This is Marshall Park. There's a bronze sculpture there that's really based on her, but it's of a turtle. And seeing a child see themselves in that sculpture, this happened about a week after we opened Marshall Park, just really incredibly moving. So like a good disease, Harper's Playground is spreading. We started with 1, we now have 24 completed projects. They all kind of look very similar but different because you always, to design a proper Harper's Playground, or anything really, it has to be bespoke to the space. This is not a cookie cutter situation. You don't just plop a rectangular form out of a catalog. You design to a space. These are 4 of those 24, but I'm gonna now share with you a couple of the highlights from Marshall Park, our $4.3 million, 6 years, blood, sweat, and tears gem over there in Marshall Park. So just, oh yes.
Where is Marshall Park?
Marshall Park is at the nexus of I-5 and exit 1C, McLaughlin. It's a beautiful wooded park there with the Marshall Center. Yeah, I think if you take 14 west, you'll pretty much almost be there, right beyond Fort Vancouver. Yep. So there are 2 main innovations besides our entire design philosophy about Harper's Playground. One is called Harper's Hill. Harper's Hill simulates what is one of the best play features in nature, which is hills. I grew up playing in hills. It is literally the definition of an unstructured space. In the professional lexicon, they call it play affordances. The hill offers unlimited play affordances, and I'm going to share with you a few of them. So that I have at least been able to witness. So these kids playing with the rope, this is imagination play, by the way. Imagination play is not a pirate ship, and I pretend I'm a pirate. That's really guided play. Imagination play is, it's all in your mind. You're creating your whole reality. So who knows what they're doing? That could be a tower, they could be saving people, who knows? Adults playing with their kids, this is called attunement play, especially when there's eye contact between the adult and the child, really emotionally important. Rough and tumble play is critical to learning empathy, right? Really critical to also developing your physical skills. Also, the same hill provides a father and daughter a chance to just have that sweet moment together, bonding. Risk play is a big term. The beautiful thing about risk play is you don't actually have to provide the risk. You provide an environment where kids can create their own risk. So this kid doing backflips off our hill is risking something. You don't have to create like a hit. There's the difference between risk and hazard, right? So hazards we should remove. Risks you should never be trying to remove because basically risks are self-directed. But also you can see someone in a chair can use it. The really cool thing about the hill is it's also all weather. So Harper's Hill, our main innovation, we brought that to the world, thank you very much. Or you're welcome, I should say. Second big innovation is our wet sand area that we've created. Our design, that one is called Lennon Land because Harper's younger sister Lennon asked me at the age of 6, hey Dad, when do I get my playground? So to buy myself some time, I named a sand area for her. And this is actually her showing how fun it is to jump in a wet puddle. But sand is the holy grail of play materials. It is really important to provide an opportunity for kids to shape their environment, to change, to dig tunnels, to coordinate the release of the dam on the hill. So I do see my time. I'm going to wrap this up, I swear, Dave. As an organization, our why is inclusion, biggest, but play and nature. And when we provide an inclusive environment where play and nature are existing, it's amazing. That's what our thing is. As an organization, we provide mostly design know-how. We help communities with the whole process, and we're half-decent fundraisers. So that's kind of what we do, the how we do it. But the original vision really was to just speckle the world with these suckers. And I'm really happy to share that we're on our way. Our business model was to create a how-to manual and to allow people to download it for free. That's basically our funnel for potential customers or partners. These are a little bit of old data. I don't own the updates. We're closer to 1,000 and definitely a few more countries, but it's pretty cool that it's happening. And as I mentioned, we have now 24 completed projects. So our data is old, but they keep opening all the time. We learn about playgrounds sometimes after they've opened because they've downloaded our book. Sometimes we've lost contact with them. But as I mentioned before, it's all about Harper. And there she is enjoying her swing. In fact, that's really the only thing she cares about in the playground, but that's okay because when she's in the swing, either she's the center of attention or she gets to watch kids play. And really my ultimate mission as a father is just to be able to swing with my girl. I hope I inspired, entertained, and even had some educational pieces. I'm sure in the interview process we'll pull something educational about it. Thank you for your time.
We were never at Adidas at the same time.
No, I don't believe so.
No, I left like 2000.
Oh, I started in June of '99.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I started in the mailroom. And I ascended very laterally, slowly out of there. Never got that high.
Yeah, that was before, was at the Jansen place then?
I was at the Nimbus office out in Beaverton, near Washington Square. And then I was with them when they moved to North Portland.
Got it. Yeah. I got conveniently laid off then to afford, with a third of the staff, I think, to afford moving up into the old hospital. But like you said, I think that that kind of informed your mindset towards this. I mean, this is what year was Harper born?
She's 2005.
2005. Okay, so you've been, you said, kind of in the trenches of the brand world and everything else. Was that kind of you mentioned doing the trucker hats and the shirts and everything else, a very strong intention to kind of bring a brand to it. Was that there from the very beginning?
For sure. Yeah, I definitely, I think Adidas was a half-decent entree into the world of brand marketing. I think my time at Red Bull energy drink was like, I don't want to suggest I have a PhD in marketing because I don't, but Red Bull sure gives them out. And I learned some amazing tricks from them. So I was creating a nonprofit, not only a nonprofit, but one with global aspirations from the get-go. I thought it needs a strong foundation, and all of my studies of other organizations, Apple and Nike being two of my favorite examples, building a brand from the beginning was what I thought I understood.
Yeah. It's funny, I meet a lot of entrepreneurs that have a strong vision for a social equity piece or something that they want to give back.
The infrastructure needed. There are savvy donors out there, savvy investors almost I would call them, who say, here, we're going to give you a multi-year gift, It's really wild when someone gives you a one-time gift and says, tell me your plan to replace it next year. Okay, more hustle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Multi-year and unrestricted. And there's donors out there that do it, and they're pretty savvy because they understand if you believe in somebody and their vision, you have to give them some freedom and not restrict it and not make it one time.
Yeah. I think you hit on it too when talking about the product of what you do, right? And we've had this conversation too about the accessibility, right? That the design and the design is meant to inspire the creativity because that's what kids do, right? That a good design is not exclusive of anybody and inclusive of people that have disabilities and have challenges or not, right? And that's been part of the intention, and it seems simple.
Hopefully.
Well, I don't mean to make light of it, but when you talk about, that a hill is your one of your jams, it's not just a hill. There's a path that comes up to it, so there's some things that can happen, but there's very intentional design to make people go through these experiences, make the kids go through these experiences. Which are fundamentally great. I think you're working your way to that 400-page book.
Yeah, there's a couple books. I am published. I actually wrote a book called Kids Book About Play, and that's another connection to a really great local story, obviously, the Kids Book, or Kids Co.
Yeah, Jelani's great.
That was really helpful. That's part of the brand building. But I would say as a creative and now a part of a design process, I think it's just so rewarding to realize that when you really stick to function, the form becomes beautiful. I think, to quote, one of my favorites is Buckminster Fuller. He says he said he never set out to create something beautiful, but if his solution wasn't beautiful, he knew it was wrong. And that's why we also lean into nature. Nature is so critical to our design. We use it in the design. We use natural forms. And I don't know if you all know who designed nature, but they were so good. They knocked it out of the park. So we don't have to.
Are they on LinkedIn?
They are definitely on LinkedIn. They are on all the socials. They are everywhere.
Oh, that's awesome. I don't want to pitch. I've never seen the idea of the risk play. It's really interesting, right? It always struck me, like I mentioned Adidas, right? And going back to Germany, and you're walking around Altstadt in Nuremberg, and you're in a 1,000-year-old castle, and you walk up to the edge, and there's no rail. They just, it's like, it's kind of like if you're gonna do that, you're gonna do that, right? And then we become very, very guarded. How do you kind of balance that when you say risk play? You mitigate hazard.
This brings up like the hairs on my neck, because one of the experiences we have is with helicopter parents. I mean, it's a constant. Yeah. If there's a hill, I can't see my kid at all times in the playground, and I say all the time, here's a novel idea. Let your kid go to the park without you, because there was a time in my history, at least, and in the history of mankind, where kids actually left the house and came back at sunset. And their free range by the age of 7 was about 7 miles, believe it or not. And you want to know what it is today? Like 7 feet. It's like, it is. And the fascinating thing about play, and I read about play as much as I possibly can, I'm so fascinated with it. It's really my favorite subject. They did a recent study with kids, and they showed them pictures of what seemed to be all play experiences to try to understand how kids perceive play. And what they found most striking is that any image that had an adult in it was not play. So, and this is true, so to truly get play, the real like soul fulfilling part of play happens outside of the vision of a parent. It happens when kids go on their own adventuring, and they are forced to develop their own agency, their own executive function skills, because they're in charge. Yeah. They need to go to the edge of the castle thing and not fall off because they know. And no rail, no parent means they're deciding.
They get a chance to make their own rules too. right?
Yep.
I mean, that was, we were talking about it before. It's like, you know, don't travel farther than, you know, you can hear me call for you. How would you know? If you can't hear them when they call,
Yep.
you wouldn't know if they called.
Yeah, it's
But it was good enough, right? It was just, you know, it was happy to let us go, and we came home every day, and sometimes we had, you know, bumps and bruises and cuts and, you know, spider bites and all that kind of stuff, but.
Even had to go to the emergency room to get a cast. You don't see casts anymore. It's like a tragedy. There's not enough casts in the world.
Nice.
It is a mark of a healthy childhood, an occasional cast. That's really important.
Love it. So I want to open up. Like I said, I've known Cody for a while. I love talking to him about this. It's just, I think, just I love his perspective on it, and I think it's just magic that he's really kind of transforming stuff. But I'd love to see if there's some questions you guys have. Yeah.
So beautiful story. Like I love everything about it. But can you talk a little bit more about your journey to leave Adidas? Like, did you just say, "I'm done"? Did you make a plan? Like, how did you decide that, other than living, breathing it, you know, living it? Did you
Bless you.
have a plan? Did you just cut cold turkey, or how did you make the leap?
Yeah, thank you for that. Well, I think first and foremost, I'll take a step back. I was definitely never interested in having a job in general, or that was tied to commerce in any way. I'm the child of San Francisco hippies, grew up in Marin County, California, running around in hills, and was adamant, partially encouraged by my parents, to find my bliss and my passion in life. I pursued filmmaking first. I went to NYU, and I had just returned from shooting my second failed documentary. I spent a year in Mexico in a percussion band. So this is my 30th year. And I come back to Portland, and I'm invited to play on a soccer team with a bunch of Adidas employees because I knew some of them from high school. So my Adidas career was very accidental and sort of like, well, I was broke, you know. And I'll never forget, in one particular day at Adidas, when someone was talking about a new shoe that had a certain feature that was going to increase its perceived value. And my heart just sank, and I was like, what the hell am I doing here? I don't want to be involved in anything that has any part of playing games with people's perceptions of value. Like, I want to be involved with real value only. So I was hatching my escape pretty early on. I never wanted to be there, but you know, I needed a job, basically. So Harper's Playground saved me more than me like creating something. So, but to answer your question more specifically, I spent a full year. I was on a one-year contract to help launch Adidas' snow program. And I figured by the end of that 1 year, I would have created a new board of directors. You know, the first project had a board of directors to build the first playground. It was a few neighbors, my brother-in-law. I got a little more serious and went out and found some people. A city commissioner joined, and I also built tiers. I have an advisory council, a board of directors, an associate board, basically junior board, and now for the first time we've launched a youth board. So a lot of my work is in the curation of volunteers. But it was that 1 year that I spent planning my escape hatch. Yeah. Kelly.
I'm just interested personally, and then also just from your experience, like, you know, going from early startup, and I definitely, we took the for-profit route, but has there been any thought or, you know, looking into how you can like blend both of them so that you can get yourself support? I know we are looking into nonprofit arm because we are also a mission with a business.
Yep.
And trying to bridge that gap, because I do think, especially for parents, like
Yep.
you have young children, I started Slumberkins with young children, like the balance of taking the risk of being an entrepreneur and going all in and finding your bliss and joy and being so in alignment, I can totally relate to. And then, you know, I would say 10 years in of like a high roller coaster and then getting close to really scary points again, like how do you hedge your, you know,
Yeah.
income and how you think about keeping things safe or stable for your family while you are all building this together?
I love that question. Thank you. So from the get-go, I absolutely always thought about having products, having like tangible things people could purchase. A lot of them through partnerships. We did partnerships with the Timbers Army and sold scarves. With Voodoo Donut, we had a special Harper's Donut. And I still intend to keep growing that. There's a vision to have that be a nice, healthy part of our business model. This year, we're on pace.
Provides for the infrastructure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like you get the donations for so you can check it off for them to like build, and then more of the infrastructure for yourself and like your salaries.
I guess what I should take a step back. So our revenue stream as a nonprofit is still primarily just donations, right? But there's the power of three. My intention has always been to grow a brand that sells products so that it's a little bit more stable, because that, here's a gift, now go out and replace it, versus like, you can build a more predictable, I feel like, at least eventually, product line and partnerships. Partnerships are better, I think, ultimately for us, people who have that infrastructure. Again, Voodoo Donut or something like that. We did a coffee with Happy Cup Coffee. So traditional fundraising will be probably the middle. The products and events even I see as a little bit different. There's crossover. And then fee for service is a big part of our growth strategy. The requests for our design knowledge around the globe, we are starting to charge for that. And so this year we'll book $125,000. We're on pace. Our total budget is $715,000 this year. And I do absolutely envision a day where it'll be at least 50-50 between our fee for service, which not only...
So is that just your separate consulting, like you have an LLC or?
No, it's the nonprofit.
It's all under the nonprofit?
Yep. I could see it becoming that. I mean, I think it's in the plan to have that become like a certified B Corp. It'll be a little more nimble and not beholden to the board of a nonprofit. But we're not really close to like that part, but that's the plan for that stability.
Yeah.
C3.
With the global distribution on the DIY kits, do you guys have any kind of training program or certification for designers that they can come and get your knowledge and do the transfer and have some type of revenue stream in addition to the learning?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
So it starts with the download of the book, and then that is our pipeline to attend our workshop. We're doing 2 this year. We started by 1 a year, and I foresee a day in the future where we'll have those regionally.
Do you
For
rate,
sure.
like when someone downloads your guide, they get some kind of knowledge transfer, they go off and build a playground. Is there a rating system like a LEED certification for playgrounds to say, you're platinum, you nailed it all, or you're lead and you basically just painted it bright colors?
We are absolutely in the final stage of that next book. So our first book was How to Build a Harper's Playground. And it was really the 3 big things, the design, the process, and the fundraising. And we were trying to teach all 3. Now we're focused on design only. And LEED is our model. We have a certification model. It's fascinatingly complex to go from here's how you do it visually and really aspirationally to scoring.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, there's a big part of me that still doesn't like that because I think that's not the best way to get the right product. But we're working on it, and our plan is platinum, gold, silver. Anything less than silver doesn't even doesn't even get noticed by us.
And then lastly, just a personal comment. Thank you. My grandson is visiting for the first time. He's 5. He comes a week from this weekend. Marshall Park is on my agenda. It was already there. I've been scouting all of Vancouver, and that was the destination that I plan to bring him.
I guarantee he's going to love it. I guarantee. But I look forward to finding out.
Yeah.
Please let me know. Neil?
So first, I have 5 kids, and that's the park they like to go to. Because they always bring sheets of cardboard to slide down the hill. And, you know, they're 8 to 19 and they still do this.
Nice.
So I have two questions. One is just a yes or no. But are you,
I'll do my
are you
best.
associated with the NRPA, the National Recreation and Parks Association?
Ish, yeah, ish.
And then the second question, I don't mean to dwell on the dark side of things, but like, what have you, how do you deal with, you know, you've done this and it's grown, it's exciting, but like, has there been a point where it just feels like everything is collapsing and you don't know what tomorrow is going to look like? And then how do you keep moving forward from that to, I mean, it feels like everything's great, but like, what does that look like? What does that look like for you?
What, when I'm in the fetal position crying? It looks like that. Yeah, there's been so many. I answered a question earlier. Pretty much every second of every day for 15 years, I've been in a panic mode also. And I've also had more incredible, beautiful experiences meeting amazing people and having just opportunities that I could have never dreamed of. I think both are true in the journey of an entrepreneur and a founder. And I think, I dare say, I experience it slightly more than many people because of the personal connection that I feel and the pissed offness I get sometimes when people stand in my way, and I'm like, why are you trying to harm my daughter? Like, you know, it's like hard to be dispassionate, and it requires on occasion to be dispassionate, but I can barely ever summon that. So the dark side, I don't think that's dark to me. I mean, I think what's dark is that there are so many people out there that have given up on their own dreams, and I think that's what we experience as dream chasers is people trying to throw sticks in the spokes of your tires because they're not pursuing their thing. That is frustrating, and I think that's absolutely something I experience. It is hard to deal with people who are completely have given up, and they exist, especially in government. And we have to work with them a lot. We're building public spaces.
Yeah.
With a real stomach for the bespoke, custom, innovative design that we push for. And so there's a constant push back often to not do it as well as we would want. One of our best tactics to deal with governments is to raise the money ourselves so that we can then own the final product. When we're in partnership with them or when they're paying for it, which is also wonderful, you lose a little bit of that control. So I think like anything, it's about relationship development and having a good process for, what's the right word, qualifying a partner. You know, we really spend a lot of time making sure that there's a shared vision. I think that's the most important part. We work very hard to make sure that they really are on board for what we do. Not just the city officials, but a bunch of stakeholders beyond the government ones. Really good questions.
Yeah.
Adam.
I was just curious, you mentioned earlier that you said you spent most of your funding on investing in the playgrounds themselves instead of like the business infrastructure.
Yes.
Why is that a bad thing?
Well, we need the money too. I think it's been an interesting journey of balance. I think, as I kind of was just mentioning, when we raise the money for the project, we ensure it's quality. We have a contract that says so. One time in our history of many, many partnerships, we have had to threaten pulling the money back because the city was trying to compromise on our design too much, and we have a contract that says it's going to meet these, standards. As an organization, we were born in a capital campaign, right? So our very first project was $1.2 million. Every penny of that $1.2 million essentially went right into the playground. We did a couple photocopies and we spent a little money to throw a gala, right? But essentially, bless you, every penny went into that playground. The next $1.2 million that we raised created 4 playgrounds. And it's getting more and more efficient. And yet still, it can be hard to receive funding from somebody, bless you, that is unrestricted, that allows us to leverage it in all those ways. That's harder to measure. There are a lot of funders out there, and especially we've kind of trained them. here's another playground project, invest in that. And so our challenge is in, I think first and foremost, transitioning some folks who learn about us in a capital campaign into becoming regular donors, to recognize that there's even more value in that. And because again, we need to grow. We're 3 employees. We were at 5 not long ago. So we actually, last year was our first down year. We grew basically 10 years straight, or I guess it was 9 years. Now this is my 11th anniversary of this being my full-time job is coming up this next January 1st. There's a lot of stress on the nonprofit sector right now. I think with all the nonprofits that are losing federal funding, and donors worried about their own pocketbooks, and donors wanting to shift money to like front lines organizations that they think of. So I think that's a long answer, but I think we need to make sure we secure more regular gifts that help us sustain an organization that can do this work. The playgrounds, they're sexy, but they don't keep the lights on for us. So we need to, that's part of the work we're doing right now, if that makes sense.
So you're saying I started the perfect time to start a nonprofit?
I think there's no such thing as a perfect time for anything.
No.
Yes.
No.
I saw another hand.
Yeah.
How long before you got paid?
4 years and a month. I think I got paid at the end of the first month. What's that?
3 years for me.
Ah.
Kaylee and I started sharing a salary after 3 years of not paying ourselves, just hiring other people.
Yep. So at the end of January 2014, I'm pretty sure I got paid. I must have. I don't remember, but yeah. And here's my big plug. I have to make it. Part of what I convinced my wife, because I proved myself in the first project to be a fairly decent fundraiser, but we did a gala for the first one. So we do a gala every year, like many nonprofits, and I thought, I'll do a gala in 2014. I can raise my whole salary, I know it, in one night. It was not a big salary, so I knew I could do it. And now we've been growing a gala. It's coming up September 27th. It is all the good feels you had here, but times 100, because we have a dress code. It's called Playfully Dressy. We throw the best party in town, and everyone in this room, you should all go on harpersplayground.org and buy a ticket and come party with us, September 27th. That's how I pay my salary, pretty much. We do about $250,000 year after year, but just like last year was down, so far and that's why I'm going to plug it. I'm going to plug the camera. You guys, go to the website.
It's perfect. It's perfect. Cody, this has been amazing. Like I said, it's been a long time, and I invited you out here to show you the place we're doing this, and just kind of grew out of that, and I'm over the moon you came out for it.
I'm honored. I'm so thankful. Don't tell anyone else this, but I will meet anyone anytime to talk about Harper's Playground one-on-one. A chance to meet with a group of, I looked you all up on LinkedIn pretty much. I admire that you're all on the hustle and or trying to help, honestly. So I feel really fortunate to have been invited here this morning, and I felt the love and the connection. Thank you for paying close attention, and thanks for having me.
Always, bud. Thanks. Very cool. Okay, I got a quick close. We have been doing 3 events a month, and now that we have a space here, we expanded to do another one. This is only the beginning. We are going to be expanding the programming, assuming we do everything we believe is going to pull in dollars as well, because again, this is it's just been needed in this area for so long, and we're just excited to kind of jump into it. This is the schedule. We're trying to transition. We're all on Meetup right now. We're trying to transition out of it. Luma is a little bit better at keeping people apprised and updated and outreach and blasts, and it's just kind of a more modern platform. So all these are listed up on Luma. These are on the first Tuesday. Everybody's heard me say I try and keep it simple, that the first Tuesday, the second Friday, third Tuesday, and fourth Thursday, because otherwise I'll be trying to jockey all the different dates forever. But each one of these And I'll tell you, I was a little bit concerned about which one, about moving over to the Vic, because we've heard it for a long time. You know, when are you coming over to the east side? And Portlanders just don't love travel. They don't love anything. And so there's an extra, what, 7 minutes? But it's, we've seen the open coffee, we had 30 over here. So it's phenomenal. It just kind of blossomed, and really happy to see it start growing. There is one event that is not on here that you need to know, because this whole thing is moving to us launching an actual incubator. I am not going to give tours today, but I will tell you that over in this building, which is where they used to make the old HP printers, we have a section where we are going to have a co-working space. We will have an incubator program that we are putting together and plan to launch starting on beginning of January. I won't say a date because I won't want to promise what I can't deliver. But it is a space that comes with access to all of this, and including the, I don't know if you've seen it, there is a gym that's over here. All kind of comes with it. It's phenomenal. On September 25th, so this is going to be a busy week for us, because on September 25th, you come over here for our party, and then we'll come to the Harper Playground on the 27th. It'll be awesome.
My man.
They love it, love it. Yeah, like I said, this has been exciting. This has been a whirlwind for me, kind of getting it to the point where we understand the need that people have to be tied in, right? Portland operates under exclusion by non-inclusion, or what is it? Inclusion by non-exclusion, right? They say, go ahead and come over here, and you can come to our events and everything else, and it just is not tenable anymore. It doesn't work, right? The commute has been absolutely crazy, much less all of the challenges of going down there. So we're excited to do this. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. We are going to be putting an application in place, and that will be, so stay tuned for more details about that. This will be, like I said, planning the launch in January. And if you don't know it, because I like little history, fun, crazy things, Vancouver's got a really interesting kind of connection to startups. Bill Gates came down here when he was 15 with Paul Allen, and they did a software project for the Bonneville Power, actually the power distribution thing. This was early days of computer, right? Nobody really knew how to do it. They were managing some huge challenges. They came down here, one of their first contracts were down here. So we kind of grow good things starting from here. So that's it. Here's more information to kind of reconnect with us, but thank you guys. This is awesome. I want to see this thing grow, and thanks so much for coming out. Yes.